They say when a person dies, the loved ones will bury the person in a peaceful way. But in the case of Uncle Dan and Rita, things were different. From hammer to sword, with a heavy thunderstorms that can cut your heart. From Lagos to the village, from truth to lies. A terrible story was about to shake two worlds apart.
After Rita's shocking death in the village square, the story spread like wildfire. Lagos, people whispered, villagers trembled, and even the chief priests said the spirits were not sleeping. But Uncle Dan, he became quieter than ever. He did not celebrate, he did not rejoice. He only said, "When a tree falls, the forest must learn." Mike's body was brought back to the village for final burial. Rain poured heavily, as if the sky itself was crying. Villagers gathered, some ashamed, some confused, some praying quietly. Uncle Dan stood by the coffin, leaning on his wooden staff, his face hard but his eyes wet. "I warned them," he whispered to the elders, "but no one listens to the voice that speaks truth." Rita's lies and greed had covered his name like mud, but now the mud was washing away. While the village was still mourning, a stranger arrived, the same juju man from Ikorodu. He came with fear in his steps and guilt in his breath. He entered the palace square and knelt before the elders. "Juju man, forgive me," he said. "The woman forced me. She wanted her husband dead. She promised me wealth, but she broke the deal." The elders stared at him in shock. Women covered their mouths, whispering, "So it was true. Rita killed her own husband." The juju man continued, "I warned her. The spirits do not like unpaid debts. She refused to come for her 7 days. So the spirits followed her themselves." A heavy silence fell. Even the wind stopped blowing. Uncle Dan closed his eyes. Everything he suffered, all the insults, all the accusations, finally had meaning. The villagers decided that the only way to restore balance was to cleanse Uncle Dan's name publicly. They gathered in the village square with drums and palm wine. Elders placed chalk on his forehead and washed his feet. Women knelt and apologized. Children who once feared him now hugged him. Uncle Dan simply said, "Let your hearts learn before your mouths speak." For Mike's spirit visited at night. That night after the burial, Uncle Dan sat alone outside his hut. The moon was full, the air cold. Then he felt a gentle wind behind him. He turned, and there stood Mike's spirit. Calm, quiet, peaceful. "Uncle," Mike said softly, "thank you for standing for truth. Do not carry guilt. The truth you lived has set my spirit free." Uncle Dan's heart broke in tears he had held for months. "You forgive me, my son," he whispered. Mike smiled, a warm, glowing smile, and faded like morning fog. The next day, the elders gathered and said, "From today, no one will be judged by gossip in this village. Let truth be confirmed before tongues begin to wag." And so Uncle Dan became a symbol of wisdom. People came to him for advice. Children followed him around. The village learned patience, justice, and respect. Because of one man's suffering, a whole community became wiser.